Rebels, welcome to the Rebels Edge. The world is waiting to hear what happens with the China trade deal. What does that mean for your stocks? Find out now.
All right, here we go with the Rebels Edge, my man. There's Mr. Nugent sitting over there looking sharp out there in Hawaii. I'm so jealous because Minnesota's had terrible weather. You guys just are so consistent, man. It's awesome. It's always awesome out there. All right, let's kick right into it, man. The Rebels Edge is here. How about a little bit of macro? Now, the inflation concerns, that was something everybody was talking about, blah, blah, blah. But then all of a sudden we start hearing a little bit more about the negotiations, and they're still there. That's a good thing. They didn't just run out and get out of there. So we're still looking at what's happening with China, and that's the biggie. That is the biggie. We all know that. And how are the negotiations going? It seems like they're going okay right now. We're hearing back from London that it is. I'd sure like to hear a little bit more because I think that's what the markets are looking for right now.
Yeah, 100%. This has been the big golden goose trade deal the markets wanted for a while. And just as a little offshoot, I'm really curious if Boeing gets tied into this one again like it has been with some of the others. Could be something interesting to watch out for.
All right, we got to jump to our fantastic futures. And I'll tell you what, right now, we talk about a lot of commodities out there, but crude oil is definitely something we should talk even more about. Matter of fact, multi-month highs sitting at 66. It's been a nice move to the upside. And while we're seeing that move to the upside, we still continue to see volatility come down just a little bit more. We've been in the 16s. Here we are sitting right now just above 17. That's where volatility is stuck. And this range has gotten tighter and tighter and tighter.
Yeah, and from my fantastic future, a lot of people are looking at Bitcoin when it comes to crypto, but one that's interesting today is actually Ethereum and Solana. They just got picked for Societe Generale's USD pegged stablecoin, and whether you know what all that means or not, ETHA is something that we've been seeing some options in here and there. It's an Ethereum tied ETF, and it's something worth taking a look at, especially as we see a pop today kind of out of nowhere. Before we get started, Pete, tell them about the webinar that you're going to be on.
Oh, yeah, we got a really cool webinar coming up. It's going to be Thursday. Thursday seems to be that day, and right at the close, 4 p.m. Eastern time, it's going to have features of Greg McDermott's going to be there, Mark Lopresti's going to be there, I'm going to be there, and we're just going to be talking about what we are seeing within the markets right now, and the marketrebellion.com/register is how you get there. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to kick around a lot of ideas, trading smarter, and a lot of ways that people can feel a little bit better about it, more of a beginner's side of what's going on, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Greg McDermott, for the people who don't know him, he's absolutely fantastic, and he's always going to be entertaining as well. All right, should we jump into some of our stocks now, man?
Let's do it.
All right, quantum computing, not just the whole world of quantum, but the stock quantum computing. Now, this thing is absolutely been on an unbelievable run today. It was up 20%. Last I looked, it was still up, holding up about 15%. There is a massive short interest in this stock. I think that's helping out a little bit. As a matter of fact, this is a stock that's had highs of as much as 27 bucks. The low, 35 cents. Gives you a little bit of an idea of what this thing's done over the last 52 weeks or so. They do have some cash burn out there. There is some incredible technology that's out there as far as the growth is concerned. And we've got a couple of different folks out there that have upgrades. There's one that's an upgrade. The other one is they're putting up their price target from 14 going all the way up to 22. So there's a lot of excitement around this, and we might even have a little bit of unusual option activity in this one. What do you think about quantum computing?
I love it. I think that the Trump trade talk stuff, as much as it seems unrelated, actually pushes the reset button on a lot of growth names and kind of gives us that next possibility to move higher. And clearly the smart money thinks so too. They were jumping in here in QUBT with the stock at 758. It's more than doubled since then. The options are up a whole lot. And I mean, even today we've seen more action, not in this name, but in a similar quantum name that you and I were just talking about on the take. I love it. I think that growth is probably where you want to be looking right now in this last half of the year phase of the rally, personally speaking.
Yeah, love it, love it. All right, how about Insmed? Now, this one's really, really interesting. Talking about a company in the world of rare disease therapies. They have an unbelievable pipeline. I was just blown away when I'd seen that because it's not a name that I'm all that familiar with. I should be, though, because I missed out on seeing a 52-week high that it hit today. It was a little bit under $92. So this thing was up 26%. It's been unbelievable mover today. And why is that? Well, because they've got some very positive things going on within what they've got in terms of the pipeline itself. They do have one drug already that's been approved, so the company has that behind it, but they're also looking at going into phase 3 of this last. And they've got so many different therapies right now that are in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. They've got one, but phase 1 and phase 2, certainly very active. The preclinical side of things is great. And this is a company that I think really does have a heck of a lot of promise, even though it's had this huge run up towards 92. I think this is a stock, if they get a little bit further along, a lot of people are talking about how they're going to displace some of the others that they're competing with right now because they really have had some great reactions right now so far in some of the studies that they're putting on.
Yeah, for sure. They were a super binary play too. They're in this niche market trying to treat a rare lung disease. And yeah, when you come in with this binary play and you actually show that you can perform, your stock really, really rips if you're a biotech. I love it a lot. And this really just makes me think a little bit about another stock that we've been seeing quite a bit of and that we've been hearing about for a long time, which is Cytokinetics, CYTK. Similar kind of story, even though they're treating a different thing, and has another big biotech catalyst date coming up, similar to what Insmed released today. It's another one that I would be watching if you missed out on this one and you're saying, all right, where can I go next?
Tell you what I want to go to next is Casey's General Store. I mean, holy smoke. This thing is absolutely on fire. It hit a 52-week high, 509 is what it hit. You know, it's got free cash flow. That looks good. All the numbers that you see here are absolutely incredible. Now, it doesn't sound like one of those sexy names that's out there, but what if I told you that the earnings were up a little over 12%, almost 12.5% year over year? You look at revenue that's up about 11%. The fuel profits are up 21% year over year. Everywhere you look, they raised the dividend. They're doing everything right. Casey's is in the right place at the right time. You know what? I'm kicking myself a little bit, Justin, because this is a stock that I did used to own. And for whatever reason, I don't own it anymore, and I'm really missing out on this run. And just yesterday, I was looking at this stock, and I thought to myself, they got earnings coming out. I really got to get involved in this thing. Unfortunately, I got distracted with something else. I did not do anything in this one, but this is a company up 13% on the day, up $57. Not such a bad day today for Casey's.
Not excuse me, not at all. And it keeps the trend of, you know, what's doing really well right now. Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Casey's, another convenience store. What interesting situation when at the same time average hourly wages are going up. Labor market's really not doing that bad. It's kind of like everyone's just still trying to be a little bit frugal anyway. It's interesting. But yeah, a lot of these similar types of stocks are doing really, really well right now.
You know what? The food is good there. The inside is where they're really kicking butt and taking names. I mean, they're doing it all over the place, because if you look at the energy side of it, obviously gas stations and diesel, all the rest of that. But inside, people are going crazy for their food, and their pizza's actually very, very good. A lot of people talk about it all the time. All right, how about another one in the food world that's not doing very well? JM Smucker. Now, this is one where, you know, it's been a legacy firm. The family's still there. The CEO is a Smucker. But their gross profits down about 9% year over year, not so good. Their outlook missed, not so good. Their outlook looks like they're looking for about $9, 10 and a quarter is what the consensus was. They just aren't able to find themselves. They, of course, are kind of pointing the finger towards tariffs and everything. I'm not really sure that you could do that at this point in time, but the sales growth, they've got headwinds there. The stock is anywhere between 95 and a buck and a quarter in terms of the 52-week low and high. It's sitting a lot closer to the low. It's sitting at about $98 right now. 95 is the low. So down about 12% today. This is not one that I'd be all that interested in at all. I don't want to chase Casey's, but I'll tell you what, I don't think Casey's is done, because they are in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, 100%. Smuckers, I don't know who's coming out of a correction in 2025 in a bull market where the president is talking about buying $1,000 of what will likely be the S&P for every newborn baby and juicing the market like crazy ahead of Fed cuts and saying, you know what I should go out and buy? Smuckers. I don't know who is looking at this in the same time that we're talking about banning red dye, which is like the number one ingredient in every, or whatever dye or food ingredient that RFK is talking about banning. It's like the ingredient in all these Smuckers thing. Uncrustables is like 50% chemical, but like, you know what I mean? I don't know why this is the thing that anyone would be chasing right now. Anyway, the notion that it'd be about tariffs, man, no, it's just not the stock of the time right now. So I totally agree. I wouldn't chase this up or down. There's just better fish in the sea.
Yeah, there's other places that we could go. All right, how about a little bit of sports? Just real, and you're going to like where I'm going with this one. The NFL. The NFL has been having these games across the world for quite a while now, right? I actually was one of the guys who kind of kicked that whole thing off. I played in something that was called the World League of American Football. We had a couple of teams here in the U.S. We had one up in Canada, in Montreal, London, Frankfurt, you name it. We were over there in Europe. Well, it eventually became NFL Europe, and they've been going there and going there and going there, as everybody probably knows, going to different countries. They've gone to South America even. They've gone to Mexico, trying to get the NFL even a bigger audience, right? Which is an amazing thing how big their audience is already. But all that being said, I've got two places that I think, and they're not going to move teams. At least I know that that's not what their intent is. They want new teams, so they'll expand a little bit more. I think they're going to go to London. I think that's almost a complete layup. And my other place is not over in Europe. Let me ask you this, and maybe I'm missing out on something. My uncle was the general manager of the Hawaiians in the World Football League back in the 70s. Why does Hawaii not have a professional football team? Because you used to say, well, it's too far. Well, Europe's pretty far. South America's pretty far. I'm starting to wonder, does Hawaii deserve to have a team? Do you think they'd actually support it? Because back in the 70s, they didn't do very well as far as the audience, those at the stadium and all the rest of it. But now it's a different time. And I think that, with the amount of island people that are part of the NFL, I would think that it would make a heck of a lot of sense to go right back to Honolulu, man. So you tell me, are they going to go to Frankfurt or some other place over there, Paris, whatever, and London? Or does Hawaii got a shot, and should they have a shot?
I think Hawaii should have a shot before anywhere else outside of the country, and for a lot of reasons. I mean, it's a huge football culture here, as you know,
Yep.
right? It'd be an interesting thing to see a bunch of teams flying in jet-lagged, get them sunburned, distracted by the beach, take home field advantage to the next level. But I really, for a million reasons, as long as the NFL is down to supply some relatively long distance flights, I think Hawaii should be a layup. Why not?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're hungry for something like that. They'd love to have a professional franchise like that. I think sitting there in Hawaii, that would be pretty great. It's been a long time. All right, last thing I got for you is the NBA. Now, I bring this one up because we talk about this quite a bit in terms of, are people really watching this? The answer is no. Their ratings are absolutely terrible. They are split 1-1, which is a good thing because at least it's not a complete blowout. But I just wonder if OKC wins the next two games in Indiana, then what? Because then they're up 3-1. They're going to go back to Oklahoma. Is anybody going to be watching this? Are they going to ultra low records for ratings for a finals, do you think? We already have two small markets, right? I mean, that's part of the problem. But the other part might be that OKC blows everybody out. And game one, they actually lost it, and they lost by a point. And they did not play the way they normally played. They did have some nice stretches where they were doing really well. But in game two, they kind of blew them out. Now, what happens if they blow them out in 3 and 4? I mean, these ratings are going to be absolutely awful, don't you think?
Totally. Who's gonna love to watch it? It's probably this Pacers home crowd. I feel like they get super, super crazy every time post game. You always see these videos on Twitter of people freaking out in the streets. But aside from that, I feel like sometimes the NBA just goes through these sorts of ebbs and flows of viewership, and this is probably a little bit of an ebb. Hopefully, hopefully we can come out of this and maybe make some changes that'll bring some people back. But yeah.
they've done a lot of things that hasn't helped the NBA at all, and I've talked about that ad nauseum, so I'm not going to do it again. But yeah, I mean, the problem is these are two small market teams, and one of them basically makes it their style to blow people out. So Indiana's just got to keep up with them, or this is going to get ugly. And if it gets really, really ugly, these ratings are going to be worse than I think anybody has ever projected. So we'll see how that whole thing goes. Maybe Indiana takes two of them. Who knows? I mean, anything can happen once you drop that whole thing. So we'll see what happens.
A little more interesting.
Yeah. Justin, great to have you with us, man. Appreciate it. And never even addressed the fact that John was gone. So it just shows you how good of a job you do when you come in here, man. Always a lot of fun. Look forward to it. You'll be on next time. Next time John's gone, you're in, baby.
Nice.